before I got that done, he told me he had it. The two of us had it. We made a decision to delay yesterday's meeting. So there you have it.
You guys gotta start sitting further apart.
Gotta stop kissing on the weekends.
I'll make a comment before we start to, I appreciate the fact we got a phone call, so a lot of people did not come down.
And you know, before I could suggest they do that, they said we're going to, so it's all on them.
Well, thank you very much, we appreciate it.
We very much appreciated that, so.
That's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Larry.
You're infectious right today, though.
Yeah, should I sit back
I
one
don't guess we
row?
can hurt it.
Just no coffee.
Stay away from Dan. He doesn't
Yeah.
need it.
Got a cough yet, but
Yeah, they all
so that
got,
can last a while.
we all got that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or something called the crud.
Yeah, the crud.
yeah.
Okay.
Good morning, I'm Janet Wilson, and I live in Roque Coutier. I'm speaking today on behalf of Tama County Against Turbines. Last week, we had another example of the lack of communication between this county and its citizens. Before the supervisors meeting, a 2-mile stretch of X Avenue south of Dysart was closed. The people who live and farm along that road had no communication from the county prior to the road being closed, nor was anything posted on the county engineer's office Facebook page before we raised the issue at this meeting. There are at least 2 cancer patients and at least 2 heart patients who require medical care who are impacted by that road closure. Farmers were awaiting fertilizer trucks, and many were pulling in hydras. Farmers throughout the neighborhood could have made arrangements to get feed, fuel, and fertilizer deliveries before the road closure had the county provided notice. But the farmers couldn't because Tama County did not notify them. Delivery drivers knew nothing about it either. 30 minutes were cut from public comments and dedicated to department heads for reporting. Plus, the county engineer has separate time on your agenda each week to communicate with the public. Despite this, no one who has been impacted had any warning of the road closure. Could you tell us when Tama County contacted the Iowa 1 call before construction began?
That's all the engineer's office, I have no record.
We have seen no utility location markers along the construction project as of late Sunday, November 27th.
Janet, what are they doing to the road?
I guess they're raising the
They're
road, is that
raising
what
it,
it's
they're not
called?
doing any.
They're raising
So they won't
the
be
dirt road, I think.
They're
It's
cleaning
a-
ditches out, putting it on the road, and
Well, I think they're,
Well, it's closed, so I didn't drive on it to go see, but,
ordinarily.
what Lyle said last week was, they're getting a bunch of dirt from, wherever the,
Yeah. I don't recall either, but.
Yeah.
They're hauling it down there.
lagoons.
Yeah,
They're
there you go.
digging out, and they got a whole bunch of dirt, and they're trying to raise one road someplace, I don't know exactly where.
Well, anytime they've ever done anything like that I'm aware of, south town, they've always taken county flags, put them along the edge of the road,
Yeah.
and
It was just construction.
just construction flags. And then you see, different colored flags for phone lines. And they didn't do any of that?
well,
Well, but if they're hauling in dirt, not digging dirt,
See, they're not digging dirt up there, they're just hauling in.
then why
They're
they
not,
need to
they're
close
not
the road?
digging, trenching, digging them ditches.
No.
apparently not.
No.
Well, I have not driven past the barricades, because I know Dennis
I'll go
Kutcher
ahead.
doesn't like when people
How long
do
of a
that.
stretch road is that?
It's 2 miles.
Miles.
How many of these folks that have these
Well, we
health
have
issues are
we
on
have
that road?
4, there's 2
There are
heart
four
and 2
in-
cancer.
In 2 mile sections of
In
the
that,
road.
yes. So, and then I don't know how many farmers, I know the poor elevators are going crazy now trying to get all of their, applications on, and so, just, it's a tough time of year when the freezing is gonna be coming for I feel bad for the elevators and the farmers. Farmers Co-op Telephone Company in Dysart just installed fiber optic lines and activated high-speed internet along that road bed this fall. And we didn't know if they were notified. Now, maybe if there's no digging, the county doesn't think they need to, but it would still be nice to just have a call and go, here's what we're doing, we're not digging, don't panic.
Or a postcard.
You know, just communication would be a good thing. The communication about the road closure is a lot like the way the Salt Creek Wind Project was approved by Tama County during the cover of COVID. The county did as little as possible to notify nearby landowners, residents, and the general public of their proposed wind project bearing down on their neighborhoods. We have learned a great deal in the time since. Taxpayers are better informed of our rights, and that's why members of our coalition have addressed you now for 32 straight weeks. Each week, our coalition has brought information to you, and each week we ask you to do your jobs to protect public safety and property of Tama County's residents. We ask you to enact a moratorium on the approval of any future phases or any permitting of any commercial wind or solar projects. The moratoriums are necessary to pause any additional permitting to better protect the people who actually live and work here. Those moratoriums are necessary to allow time to research and get Tama County's commercial wind and commercial solar ordinances updated to reflect today's wind and solar technology, risks, and decommissioning costs. Your responsibility is to us, the people who live and pay taxes here, rather than rushing things through for outside developers who only want to disclose as little as possible to as few as possible to profit from Tama County's outdated ordinances. We commend the citizens of the zoning board for listening to taxpayers and holding a public hearing tonight, November 29th, on the need for a proposed moratorium on new commercial wind energy and commercial solar projects. Will any of you be attending tonight's zoning board public hearing?
No.
I won't be, no.
That's too bad.
I have another meeting I have to be at.
Do you have another meeting?
I've never gone to it.
And so that's a reason not to go, is because you've never been to one?
That's my reason. You might not like it, but that's my reason.
I've got another date.
Because
But it's not only the wind developers that are after it. They have customers that want it too, so put that into your mix.
well, I'm just saying, you guys worry about bias and staying unbiased. Unbiased means you do listen to both sides, Larry, not just one.
Well, remember that, yes.
Well, they will be there tonight too.
Yeah.
They will be there tonight.
That's fine.
Have you followed up with Todd Apple
I have
after
not.
you said you would?
I know I did.
You will direct him,
Email.
you will direct him to comply with the law to respond to the Freedom of Information Act request?
I can get over it.
Well, we've had that problem too. Will you direct County Zoning Administrator Todd Apple to be present at the public hearing tonight?
No, I'm not.
Will any of you, will you? And nobody will. This would not be part of his job.
I don't
So
know.
that I said I'm not
In a
gonna
normal
direct him.
world, it would be.
I'm not gonna direct him to go.
Did he call the meeting?
No, he did
No,
not.
he did not.
But it would be part of his job normally.
Had he called the meeting, he would have
If he would've, yes, he would've called the meeting, he'd been there, but he didn't call the meeting, so he won't be.
So it's not part of his job then, to know what's going on.
He knows what's going on.
He's the chairman of the zoning board, right? The chairman, or
He's the secretary, department head.
he's the secretary,
Department head.
Department head.
department head,
Mhm.
and so he is over the zoning board, and they called the meeting.
Well,
They
why
called the
wouldn't he-
meeting, not him.
Well, why wouldn't he be
They don't have
there
the
if
right to
he's
call the
the
meeting.
supervisor?
They do have a
You know
right
what
to
I'm
call
saying?
the meeting.
Why will the auditor's office be coming then? If they didn't
because
call
that's
the
their
meeting and they're
part of
coming.
the responsibility.
Well, it's part of your responsibility. That's just what we're saying. It's part of his responsibility, even though
Well,
he
that's a
didn't
matter of
know.
our opinions, yes.
We are the people who have been asking you to do the right thing for 7 months. We can assure you we are not going away until the commercial wind energy and industrial solar ordinances are brought up to date to reflect the increased risk to people, wildlife, livestock, and farmland compared to when the ordinance was developed nearly a quarter of a century ago. With 40-year high inflation, the cost of decommissioning wind turbines will only increase. So to protect taxpayers, the county needs to insist on ordinances that require developers to set aside ample decommissioning costs upfront in escrow at the time any permit is applied for. not 15 years down the road. All you have to do is look at the eyesore of the former Traeger manufacturing site that is left in ruins to see why it's important not to listen to just outside developers. Instead, listen to your citizens. The county must provide the decommissioning cost upfront, adjusted each year for inflation, and not leave taxpayers holding the bag or looking at the eyesores for life. Thank you.
Doing the right thing is a matter of your opinion, and not shared by everyone.
You would like to do the wrong thing? That's what you just said.
Oh, Jim, come off it.
Sounded like it to me.
You know better than that. Well, I'm not even gonna talk about that.
Bill, you said that they didn't have the right to call that meeting. They have researched very well that they did have that right to call those meetings, the regular meetings and the public hearing. So I think it's, you can't be saying that they didn't have a right to call the meeting. They've checked that very carefully.
Did we say they didn't have the right to call
I-
the meeting? They just said that they
Made a
had called the
mistake.
meeting, not Todd.
Yeah, that's right. They called the meeting.
Right. And then you said they didn't have the right to do that. They checked
did.
very carefully that they
You
did have
probably
the
had
right.
it.
Anybody else have anything?
On the, for the supervisors vote, for the 5 supervisors, did anybody inform the public or anything what actual costs could be or what they could accrue, just besides the wage? On top of that, insurance, IPers, mileage, meals, remodeling, everything that has to be done, what total cost would be? Anybody check that out?
Insurance and wages is gonna be over 60,000.
Basically, if we be looking
That's
at,
not all benefits.
right, I mean, we start looking at everything, you're looking at, you know, around 120,000 a year probably, plus,
That doesn't seem to be much compared to what these guys spend.
don't interrupt me.
I'm sorry.
As you go then through the years, then I believe, Tama County ranks 60-some in the wages for the supervisors. Those should probably go up. They will go up somewhere along the line. So I'm just wondering if anybody took all that into account before we were pushing for all this. Did anybody ever look into any of that, or?
Oh, yeah.
May I respond?
I mean, that's fine, I mean, if, yeah, I'm just wondering if everybody, you know, looked into that and realized that,
We have.
you know, it's more, it's like when you buy a car, you're gonna have, not just the cost of the car, you're gonna have the insurance and all that. And we're seeing a lot of times where there's things being brought up, but the fact checking and stuff isn't probably done properly and checked out, so. Just a little word of caution, just kinda be careful, cause people are double checking and people are talking and, you know, everybody's supposed to be friends and get along, so just make sure the stuff's true and correct when you put it out there and stuff, so, you know, and be ready to discuss things with people. You're gonna need to talk to the power companies and stuff, for example, like the, things being brought up about, nuclear and stuff. Well, have you talked to the power companies about the possibility of building nuclear? And, what that would entail, and if they can even, you know, I mean, check it all out. There's all kinds of possibilities for energy, people to be able to do things, you know, on their own or whatever, but everybody's gotta work together. This fighting and stuff is absolutely ridiculous, and this bickering that goes on all the time, you know, people have had enough of it. And some of the stuff that gets brought up is just, you know, I'll sit here and just shake my head,
What?
man, that is just,
What was that?
Jim?
No,
I'm not gonna bring in particulars, I'm just saying, some things that are brought up, it's like, people just need to check out some things more. I mean, rumors and stuff that go around are just ridiculous. Everybody needs to be careful, get along. Whether you want to or not, you're gonna need to talk to the wind turbine companies and the other power companies and figure out stuff. And I mean, I agree, there's some ordinances that need to be looked at and maybe changed and some things done, but everybody's gotta work together. It doesn't do you any good to be fighting and stuff all the time. And there's a lot of things with the engineer's office. You can call them, you don't have to wait till a meeting. Make the calls and stuff beforehand, get stuff straightened out. You know, be trying to crucify everybody at a meeting, make everybody look bad. Find out what's going on.
We did call, we called.
Maybe there's a reason for stuff, you know, but talk to them. You don't have to wait till a meeting and try to crucify everybody in public, try to make people look bad. It's just get along and do things the right way. No sense in arguing and fighting all the time. Everybody needs to get along. That's all I got right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Anybody else?
I'd like to respond to Bob. We knew going to 5 supervisors was more expensive. My opinion was, I felt the people of Tama County can make that decision, and I can get along with either decision, whichever way it went. Whether it was 5 or whether it was 3. It didn't make me a hill of beans of difference. But for you to sit here and say that we basically were forcing this extra expense on the county's people made a decision, and we all have to abide by it. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and I agree. I just asked if anybody had put out there what the cost could be and what could be incurred down the road.
I don't think anybody knows the exact cost. We'd have to talk to the auditor's office. Sure, we could say what these guys are getting now, yes. But another thing is, I live in the 1st district. That is a huge district. All the way from Chelsea through Cloutier, Vining, Dysart, Traer. We need 2 supervisors in that area, not just one from the northwest corner, okay? We need better representation in this county.
It'll still be one of the bigger ones because of population.
Right. But, you know, our opinion is, my opinion, going to 5 does give everybody better representation. And I believe that's why the county people decided this. We didn't decide it, the supervisors didn't decide it. Of course, you don't live in Tama County, so you didn't help decide that. But as far as the cost, you know, I feel it's good for the county to have better representation, so. Okay. I had one other question, and getting away from this. We were told yesterday the department head meeting went ahead, even though you guys weren't able to be there. You guys weren't there, correct? Okay. We were told it was closed to the public.
Oh.
These are public employees meeting. That meeting should have been open, but we were told it was closed to the public. So none of us tried to go there and go to it. So, in my opinion, that needed to be an open meeting for the public to go to. So I'm just saying that to you guys. That's all I got to say.
Okay, anybody else?
Well, not every meeting is open to the public. What you'll find out, we have meetings for the police department, we have meetings for the fire department that are not open to the
Board of
public, so.
Supervisor meeting.
I would recommend that when you have
Supervisor meeting.
if you have an issue with stuff like that, then if you think there's a valid complaint, then I would go to the state, cause that's what we do. If we feel that there's something, going on there, then go to the state and check. Not trying to be a jerk about it or anything, but that's just, follow that. If you think there was a violation, then go to the state and see what they say.
I was at the Board of Supervisors meeting.
No.
So why are they always part of your Board of Supervisor agendas then?
To let them know we're
We
doing
had a
it.
department too.
We have had department head meetings for years, we do it
Oh, yeah.
quarterly. And, we always have it so that, all the department heads know, don't forget, this day is our meeting, and we always do them Mondays after this meeting. The only reason that would be an open meeting is if those guys were there. They were not there yesterday.
Okay, that was our
So-
understanding, but,
Yeah,
I just wanted to find out why, what was going on.
I
I mean, we were.
that's not a board meeting, that's a
We
department.
would not be
meeting.
deliberating even if we were there. I don't know why, we don't have control of that meeting.
No,
You call the meeting.
I do the meeting.
But it's kinda nice because you can share information between, another department might have done something that you're thinking of doing and it's really great information. A lot of times at convention, you can be aware of it or aware of this. You learn more in the halls than you do in the convention.
I mean,
People have done.
we appreciate it. We were at a department head meeting, when was that, spring, I forget
Yeah.
when. But, we as the public appreciated being able to hear what these people were talking and
Mhm.
what they were thinking and doing. So, we appreciate the opportunity we understand if the supervisors aren't there, it's not open to the public. You know, so,
I don't know if we were, how that changes much, because
Yeah.
it isn't our meeting,
so.
Ours.
we're just another department.
Right,
My
it's just like
question-
all the other meetings we have, web committee, I mean, all of that, we all have different, groups that meet, so. Yeah, there's a lot of them. Eventually, you'll probably be able to see it on the website, cause I think we're going with what did we say yesterday? I think we're gonna do scheduling, meeting scheduling, so. It's a new part to the software.
I just wanted to bring it up, I just wanted to understand what's going on.
Yeah, yeah, it's just
I
Just
mean,
department head meeting, we did a round table yesterday, with, EMA, and that, when you do that, like the round table, that's about safety, right, Harrison? If a disaster happens in the county, how do we react as county employees? That's kinda what that was about, that took up most of our meeting, you guys be thankful you didn't.
That one,
Yeah,
that thing, I think we should have always done more of. And never-
well, Ryan's updating it now, so you'll be seeing it
I
soon.
don't expect any nuclear attack, but if we know we can get duration,
Right.
we need to have the ability to respond, and practice is the way you get the ability.
Yeah, it took over an hour yesterday, and we went through all that, but, yeah, it was a good meeting, and then at the beginning of the meeting, we did the software, see what new software Tyler has, that's it.
And
That's
you
pretty
gain
short.
all the resources, the resources that's available from the state to get the declarations, and it's important stuff.
Yeah. That'll all be in that, so, it'll be up there.
I have a question. Laura Wilson. A couple weeks ago, Lyle was talking about how the county is a wet road county policy. I didn't know if that was a county engineer decision or if that was a supervisor decision
We don't decide that.
or a state
But
decision.
As opposed to putting the brine down.
I didn't know if that was, is that his decision there? Okay.
We've probably been involved in that decision had it come around, but.
I didn't know if that was like
Expensive
a
program.
personnel, we don't have enough personnel or we don't have enough county funds for that or if it was some other
I think it's a
reason.
big deal. It is.
It's just,
Equipment and funding.
I know it's
You have
horrible.
to have special equipment with that brine down,
Okay.
it's liquid, we spray it on the head of the storm.
You know,
We got a lot of spreader trucks.
Just every-
salt,
I know personally I have hated driving on county roads every single winter because it's like you think they're, you know, the job's not getting done, but if you find out that it's a whole policy that totally changes the mindset and
Instead of, we use basically the dry product, which is salt. And if it's cold enough, you blend and spray calcium chloride in the salt so that it more activates the salt and sticks better. And now, in recent years, we have actually been blended with some sand, which is immediate traction. I think is a great thing. For a number of years, all we did was salt.
I like it when you add salt, sand to that
Yeah, I think the
equation.
traveling plug.
Because we go to Alaska every year, and they use no sodium chloride, they use no salt, all they use is sand. And that's recycled every year, you know, like in the big cities, like Anchorage. They load it into trucks, you know, and put it on a big hill, and it melts during the summer, and then they reuse that sand in the winter. But they're worried about the wildlife and the environment there. I know we don't worry about it here in Iowa, evidently. That's why we're putting up wind turbines. We don't care about it, evidently, some of us don't. But the state of Alaska uses no salt, no brine.
Well,
How do they get by with it up there? Their winters are 2 months longer than ours. I'm not complaining, I just thought I'd make that statement.
You're cold enough and so it doesn't do a lot of good.
I worked in Illinois and the company I worked with only put down sand in their parking lot and it was horrible. It kept piling up, you couldn't scrape down
Yeah.
far enough. So sand only doesn't work really in this region. You gotta have some kind of mixture.
Yeah,
Here's the other side of the argument.
I know. responsible driving helps too.
It does, it does.
You can teach it, you can teach it.
They've got, I used to have Ford Aerostars. Of course, they're all rusted out now because they haven't made them since 2000. You still go up to Alaska, they're still driving them around up there.
Oh, it's-
Yeah.
In Texas.
It's unbelievable. There's no rust, just like down in Texas, cars in Texas.
I do have a question, if everybody else has done that and answered. The whole process we've been through for all these, however many months that
7.
it was.
Yeah.
Huh?
Over 7.
7 months. And I referred to it as a while back as poking and prodding and then attempting to intimidate and slander, which I believe it has been. But then, I think you come back and expecting a different outcome every time. Now, that's either really optimistic or it's really got some mental health issues. One of the two.
I think we're making progress, Larry.
Are you really?
I think so with the zoning board.
With us?
No, with the zoning board.
Yeah, they don't have any authority.
Okay, since you brought this up, last week we had an enlightening meeting for me. You know, we were sitting here and everybody was, the anxiety level was increasing and everybody's talking about this friendly neighbor agreement and gag orders and
It was about
hush
22
money and stuff like this, and you know what I said during that meeting?
I don't remember.
Well, that's okay too, but I understand where you guys are at. I understand now where you guys are at.
Oh, good. I couldn't even figure out whether we was getting through with our,
Well, you know, it takes time.
that's all I had. Just wondering if it was fruitful venture or if other way methods could have been just as fruitful. But I don't care. I mean, I don't mind it. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
I heard him say there might.
I didn't say you guys, no, I didn't say you guys were getting hush money.
What do you mean by that?
I did mention gag orders.
But what do you mean by that hush money, Jim?
Because Larry keeps talking about, well, that this would be the friendly farmer agreement, or people that that people who have signed easements can't speak negatively about the wind turbine companies, otherwise they'll get sued. They're threatened to be sued.
You know that for fact.
That's what the good neighbor.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you need to get their opinion.
Should talk to the wind turbine company or something, or some of the people and see what they say. I mean, go to where the people know.
You can't, if you ask the people, they're silent. They're silent.
Maybe they don't wanna talk to you, but have you talked to the wind turbine
Just
company?
over high
Go to
school.
the people that have the answers.
Well, I've read the contract and.
Go to the people who have the answers. If
And
you
it's
have
got the
questions about
clause-
the contract, then go to them.
The contract does have the clause where you can't say anything bad or work against anything that would,
And have you asked
Damage
them
that.
about it? Clarify it. Get all the facts.
sorry,
I
what?
think she has.
If it's in writing.
It's in writing, it's
That's
what-
what matters, or if it's in writing, but then it doesn't matter.
Go through, ask the
I have
questions.
not, we tried, I was at Traer, we tried,
So they-
they
Oh,
talked for 90
I
minutes.
get told about how our contract's supposed to read, you know, I've talked to the turbine companies and you can discuss things
They'll
with them
say-
and negotiate things and take things in and out, so you can.
Wow.
But anyway, Jim.
Yeah, I'm not done.
I know
Thanks for
because
one
I've come.
comment. Understanding, thank you for that.
Yeah, and I don't mean that you guys are getting hush money, but there may be a gag order on you. You know, I'm not saying that. I think this went all along that period when there's no comment.
But if
You know,
you're-
you said your attorney said no comment, and I think this is part of it, you know. Of course, I think we've evolved past that a little
If there's a
bit
gag
now.
order, and there was, and maybe will be, it did
What?
not, if gag order is there, it did not come from Salt Creek. I promise you that.
Okay, okay.
Okay, it's 9:30.